Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today's podcast we're covering the Studio Ghibli film Grave of the Fireflies.
This movie has a reputation, and rightly so, of being one of the few saddest movies ever made by Studio Ghibli. Instead of a fantasy slice of life film, this is more of an animated biography of the author's life as a boy during World War II. And it is heart-wrenching.
Yeah. Before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get some future podcasts and Little Paws videos.
Well, you knew about this, and
yes.
You wondered, should we even watch it? Was Studio Ghibli?
Yeah.
So I wanted to watch it.
Yes.
And I was not prepared for what we saw, but I am glad we watched it because I really want to see the entire catalog of the movies that the company has.
Right. And you can probably tell we're not really as, wee about this because this is a serious movie. And we do enjoy watching this company's movies, and we love when he has the fantasy films like Spirited Away or Totoro and stuff, and those are really fun, wonderful movies. This one is taken seriously. There is no point where it kind of takes you out of the realm of it being reality-based. It stays reality-based the whole time. They have a few dreamlike sequences, but there is nothing really fantastical about this. This is actually based off a book, and it's more like an autobiography.
And we wanted to put it in November because you have Thanksgiving, things to be thankful for. And we can tell you that after seeing this movie, I kept saying how grateful and thankful I am for my life and how it is, and how not having to experience the type of things that the author experienced in his life. We have so much to be grateful for now, and I think we forget about it because we're so used to everything that happens around us being convenient, being easy, definitely in comparison to what happens in this film. So one thing we can tell you is, well, actually a few things. One, the animation is beautiful as always.
Right.
Two, you will have a better appreciation for experiences others have had that have not been positive, upbeat, and have a happy ending.
Right.
And three, you will appreciate more of the things in your life that definitely are better than what happened for the characters in this movie.
Right.
So we're going to get to this quickly, but we want to let you know there is no happy ending.
No.
There is no upbeat ending. There is no happy turnout.
No.
But it is a story that is presented in honesty, and it's it's presented in its honesty, and it's presented in its truthfulness in what was happening during that time in Japan.
Right.
And it's also told in a way that makes you feel like you're kind of experiencing this as you going through the movie. You're watching as if you're experiencing it as someone who's viewing what's happening.
Right.
And you get drawn into the movie, and I think that's one of the great things about this particular movie. Yes, you're usually drawn into Studio Ghibli, but again, it's to have fun. But you're drawn into this one not knowing what to expect, because in the beginning you're thinking there's got to be a happy ending. That's what you're thinking. This is going to turn out better, but you might as well tell you. But this one, I think we should be more honest than we are in others, so that you go into this knowing what to expect. In the beginning, you see a boy and a little girl, and you realize they're brother and sister, and they are in a pinkish tone, and you can tell that they're not alive.
Right.
And first you think maybe this is a flashback, and you're just seeing something that happened in their lives, but then you're taken immediately to a place where all these young boys are laying, and you can see that they're starving. And at first, in the beginning of the movie, you're not sure if they're alive or not. By the end, you find out. And from the beginning, the person who is narrating, which is the
boy,
the boy who is the author, representing the author, if you listen carefully, he tells you right away that they're gone.
Right. And it's telling you how it happened. And now of course the one who made the book was still alive, but the sister really did pass on because of the things that happened during this time.
And it was that he made the movie because he felt like he failed, that he didn't save her. So it was a tribute in a way to her.
Right.
Because he lost her.
Right. And it's not common that you hear movies like that being made. And I think this was also, for a lot of people that we see online when they talk about reviews and reactions and things, is that this was also a lesson. It's really a lesson in gratitude, in humbleness, in just how great that, you know, in life that you have. And I know you're sitting here and watching this movie and you have a home, you have family and everything, and you knowing how blessed you are until you see the film, and it's like it makes you really grateful for what you have, and you didn't have to go through what this man went through for all these other people during this time of war.
And that way, again, the way it's presented is raw, it's honest, and you're horrified, there's no way to put it, of how these two children are treated. The mom and the dad end up dying separately. The dad is in the, I think this is the Japanese Navy.
Yeah.
And he doesn't understand that the dad has died.
Right.
He says, I wrote a letter, and the aunt, who is the dad's sister, is going, well, why hasn't he written back yet? I'm waiting for a response. And you can see on her face she kind of knows, but she doesn't tell him.
Right.
The mom, once a bomb is dropped, she ends up getting burned all over her body.
Right.
She's wrapped in bandages, and you're hoping she's going to make it, but very quickly you find out she doesn't.
Right.
And then we learn here that, which may be common knowledge for some of you, but it wasn't for us, that in Japan, the vast majority of burials are by cremation. So she was cremated and put in an urn, and he was carrying the urn with him. But the little sister at first didn't know that the mom was gone, and she kept saying she wanted to see the mom.
Yeah.
And then the aunt, once she learned that the mom had passed, said, well, okay, well, we need to go ahead and sell her items so we can get money for food and things, which they started doing. And then when it got to the point where she knew they didn't have a home to go back to, it had been bombed and destroyed, they didn't have anything else to sell, she started complaining and telling them they were pain and they shouldn't have come, and she wished they would leave, and they were eating up the food, and you're just sitting here like,
what?
Oh my gosh, you're a horrible aunt, you're a horrible person. I'm sorry, there's no other way to put it.
And then the worst part is that she wasn't the only one to do this. Just about everyone they ran into was kind of like, they all had this mentality of, it's every man for himself. No one wanted to help these kids. Only if they got something in return did they help them, and they barely gave them enough to last a while. And it didn't let up until after the war was over.
No one showed them kindness. One person showed them kindness. One person in this entire movie.
Yeah.
And as you said, when they were selling the clothes, she was separating and giving them food for them and taking the rest for her husband and her daughter. And then she was cooking food at first, then she started calling them lazy and not contributing. Remember, these are both kids. Neither of these were adults. The sister, she had to be under 5.
Right.
If she was 5. I don't think she was even 5 years old. She was very small. And you were just watching, it's like, how can you treat children this way? So they got really hungry, and the brother came across a farm, and he took some vegetables because he wanted to feed the sister, who he kept leaving by herself to go look for food during the day on many occasions. And the owner of the farm caught him stealing, and he explained to him what was going on. He didn't care, and he started beating him with a sugar cane. He started beating him.
Yeah, this is real.
Then he said, well, I'm going to take you to the police to be arrested. He's like, well, my sister, nobody is with her. She only has me. He said he didn't care, and he took him to the police. And then you see her following behind, and she's got on a shirt, no shoes, no nothing except for this shirt, and she's following and seeing what happened to him because she didn't stay where she was supposed to. So he gets to the police station, And the guy wants to press charges and all this. And this is the only time in the movie, the only time they've shown kindness.
Right. And there's supposed to be an officer there, and they say, want him to get arrested, and he sees that the boy's been beaten with the sugar cane, and he's told him, like, you can be, he's like, I could do that, or I could arrest you for child abuse. And that made him back off.
And then he touched his sword.
Yes.
And
yes.
then the guy got
backed
afraid.
off. Yeah, that was the only time someone helped one of them.
Even when I went to the doctor, he took the sister to the doctor because she had all this red rash on her back.
Yeah.
And then when they showed, the doctor pulled up the clothes and you saw she was emaciated because they hadn't been eating.
Right.
The doctor didn't. He said, "Oh, she's fine. This can be cured. Just feed her." And he's looking at her like, "Feed her with what? We don't have anything." And he just told him, "Next."
Yeah, and please note, this is all in the movie, and this is clearly what happened to this guy growing up here. And it's almost like it's when you're hearing this or you're watching this, for whichever, it almost feels like this isn't real. You feel like this has to be some fiction. This has to be just someone coming up with the worst case scenario. No, the worst case scenario happened. Everyone was like this, and you almost can't fathom that so many people at once were like this and could be like this in the war or outside of it. It was just almost flabbergasting to even see this happened.
So these children, things got progressively worse. It kept getting worse. And we forgot to mention that after the aunt said they were trouble, whenever the boy left with his sister. Mm-hmm. And she's like, "You're leaving?" And he's like, "Yes." "And are you going to be okay?" And it's like, they're not.
No.
She didn't try to stop them. And she looked like maybe she shouldn't have said something. And she looked like maybe she had said the wrong thing. But the thing was, she didn't try to stop them.
Yeah.
And so this is how they got into this predicament. So eventually, unfortunately, the sister dies. Right. And the really heartbreaking part is the war had ended. He was able to go to the bank and get all this money out and buy all this food and things. And he was like, "Okay, I can feed you food." And they were still living outside in a shack. They had no place to go. They still weren't any other people. And he was able to feed her. And she fell asleep and she never woke up. And then you're fast forwarded back to the beginning scene that you see in the movie. And then you hear what the officers say. And so you know the outcome. So
right.
In the beginning of the movie, we forgot to tell you, you see him, and then you see her run to him, and he gives her this can that becomes really important in this story. Right. Kind of like in the movie Citizen Kane with the sled and Rosebud. It has the same meaning, the same type of importance. And yes, we both cried. I cried. I just cried and cried and cried. And I would not watch this movie again.
No, most people.
Once is all that I literally can take. Yeah,
most people consider this a movie you only see once. And for Miyazaki, a lot of his films he considers like you're not supposed to watch them on loop or anything because of the types of movies they are. Well, seeing this, now I understand why. Something like this, like some of his movies that are the fun and fantastical and family-friendly ones are just like you only get the experience once. So when you see it again, it's still fun, but not the same as you watched it the first time. For a movie like this, you can't really bear watching that all over again and knowing what happens and knowing this was real. Unless you really got a strong grip, you can't handle seeing this a second time in a row.
So I am grateful that the author shared this story so the truth of what happened could be known. I am grateful for the beauty of the animation. There were a few light moments, but there was never any lighthearted,
no super comedy or anything
within this movie. And again, it helps you, definitely makes you appreciate what you have in your life and that your experience being here and having family and friends is different. I hope that no one who's listening to this is experiencing this in another country,
Yes.
or having this type of experience in a country where war is going on,
Yes.
or so forth. If it is, our prayers are with you. We pray for peace to come to you soon, and there's no way to understand what the Arthur went through, or if anyone's going through who's experiencing this. And thank each and every person who has gone through this type of experiences or going through now, and they share their stories and they share what has happened for the world to see the truth and things that we don't see every day.
Right.
You know, in the United States, in the news, they show us what they want us to see, and what they want us to see has been treated like with disinfectant, and you only see certain parts they want you to see. And if they do show you parts that are more dark and horrific, such as this, they show it to you for short snippets, but they get you back to the things that that are more mindless, and things that they want you to buy and consume and so forth. So you really don't see a lot of this. Definitely not on TV and in the movies.
And I wouldn't be surprised if this is played more of like, sort of like something like you said for November, for gratitude, or for Veterans Day or Remembrance Day or something. I wouldn't be surprised if they played it for that, because this is something that would really fit in right well with that, and definitely impact a lot of people that would see it every year. Just like we have movies here in the U.S. that have movies about the wars and what people went through for fighting for rights and everything. I think in remembering the people that fought for it, I think this movie would fit just as well for that time of year.
So if you've seen this movie, and we know Gothic Prince Adventures has,
yes.
Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you haven't seen it, it is available to watch for free on YouTube. It is the only Miyazaki film that is on YouTube available to watch for free.
Yeah.
And maybe it's there so that people can watch it and again come away with a different mindset, and to see the experience of others, and again to appreciate and be more grateful for what they have and whom they have. And maybe that's why it's there for free.
Right.
So if you haven't seen it, it's there to watch. And come back and let us know what you think as well.
Right. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly videos on your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. So this is the last video for November. It should be taking place the Saturday after Thanksgiving. We hope you are having a peaceful and wonderful Thanksgiving weekend with your loved ones. In the United States, we have so much to be grateful for, and I hope that each and every one of us, forgive me, takes that time to say thank you, not only to people, but just in general, how we choose to show that gratitude. This weekend, I hope it carries into the rest of the year and into the coming year as well.
Yes, absolutely. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Oscar Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace.